Hello friends and welcome back for another episode of Indie Impressions. My name is Nick and today we're going to be checking out something called Garmoniums by developer WASD Swag. This is from the hashtag Glitch Jam, sponsored by GameJolt, that produced a series of very strange and dissonant, visually broken up looking games, and this being one of them, we've got a bit of an experience ahead of us. This is one of those surreal first-person exploration games that doesn't necessarily have a driving force behind it other than to just enjoy yourself and take in the atmosphere and just have a good time. You should be aware, of course, a lot of strobing lights will be happening in this game, so if you have any issues with epilepsy, seizure warning here for sure. This is just one of those games that, you know, I tend to live for. This is my favorite kind of thing to discover, and it is a work in progress. It's not that far along, I guess we could say. There's not a ton to see, unfortunately, but what's here is very cool, and I'm certainly hoping to see a lot more from it as development continues on. So why don't we get started here in this somewhat LSD dream emulator inspired world. We do have a planet of some kind with a strobing rainbow off in the distance that reminds me a bit of Nobi Nobi Boy, and then we've got an RGB powered TV sitting on some wooden stilts there off in the distance, and we happen to just find ourselves on some sort of bleak, desolate planet with a flickery ground to one side and some sort of lunar lander to another side, and unfortunately can't really interact with the lunar lander, but in order to get over to it, we've got to traverse a field of flowing jelly beans, which sounds pretty good to me, if only they had flavors. And unfortunately, there's not a lot of sound going on in this particular area, but there are areas that are a lot more jam-packed than others. Oh my goodness, that is colorful. And I guess in a good way. Yeah, it's in a good way. It kind of looks like we're in a blacklight reactive room right now, and I like it quite a bit. But yeah, there's a lot of sounds that are like stereo-locationally bound to an area, so there's like a proximity-based thing going on in it, and we've just got to walk over to wherever that happens to be, and then we can experience some sort of something happening in the background, because right now it is totally quiet. It's not just you. So there's some kind of weird planet floating up above, and this is just to demonstrate that we can go right through this lunar lander, and it seems to have some sort of waveform, some 3D vector waveform thing happening on it, maybe is representative of some sort of sound waves, or maybe not, I honestly don't know, but it's cool to look at, and it seems to be repeating like maybe it's just an animated GIF that's mapped to that particular texture surface. So why don't we walk around a little bit more over here, see if we can discover anything as cool as a wave of jelly beans. I kind of doubt it. Maybe we could find one of our finest milk steaks off in this direction. What do we have over here? We've got a grid, we've got wavy flickeriness, and just sort of a gradient that kind of goes out to orange. I think we should probably go interact with this television screen. I did mention LSD Dream Emulator in the start, and I think the reason that sort of strikes me as an influence here is just because to get around in this world, you generally touch certain objects, and then they act as sort of like an anchor point to take you to a new location. And in this case, we've got a staticky sound going on here, and the whole world seems to be enveloped in white, and I think what's going on with that is all of these objects, or many of these objects that have some sort of a teleporter associated with them, seem to exist in a dome of white light, which seems to phase out of existence after I walk outside of it. I was trying to see if I could show you, yeah, there we go. There's sort of a way to see what that looks like, and we can also jump very high, which is the other thing that led me to believing that we're on a moon of some kind. So let's interact with this television. And all of a sudden, things feel a little bit different. I think the other reason maybe, if it was intentional that we had this white dome around us, probably to differentiate the area without us necessarily knowing what was going on. So we walk up to the thing, and then all of a sudden when we walk away from it, we've just, you know, teleported to somewhere new. The sound kind of gives that away, unfortunately, that we've changed positions, but that's fine. So we've got an area that is just chock full of the Hall of Mirrors effect, and this is an effect that can be used to some pretty interesting results, where essentially it just doesn't, like, redraw the last thing that existed on that. Difference here, though, is if you look really carefully, all of the things that seem to be happening in that Hall of Mirrors effect seem to have sort of a kind of a twinkly tendency to them, if that makes sense. They aren't just sitting statically still. There's actually a little bit of, oh, you know what it is? It's probably just the noise filter that's going over everything that's causing that to happen. But that actually goes pretty far to, oh god, what is that sound? It does make the effect look a little bit more interesting. So there's a very loud tinkering, like a triangle sound happening somewhere up in the sky that I'm probably not going to get to really hang out with, because I kind of don't want to hear it. It's a little bit noisy. And we've got all these tiny trees over here Or maybe we're the ones that are huge. Maybe the television's the biggest thing ever to exist. And we can't really get up close to them, but I'm pretty sure there's other trees in other positions that we maybe can get closer to. Pardon the weird white stuff as we get in and out of that orb. So this, yeah, this is like a fully modeled tree that I guess came from like an asset pack or something. I would think for the sake of, you know, poly counts and things that maybe there wouldn't be so many of them, but they also probably vanish pretty quickly with draw distance, I imagine, since there's a lot of things that aren't actually coming into view for quite a while yet as we get further in. Look at this texture work on the landscape here. This is very strange. I'm not actually even sure what to call this. It seems to have some sort of a triangular tendency, maybe a little bit of a houndstooth thing going on, although that's not exactly right. I wonder if any of the sound effects have a bearing on what these visuals are. Like, I'm hearing there's a wave going on, playing off in the distance over here, just sort of a humming off in the background, and I'm thinking, what would it look like if you took that sound and then turned it into an image and then mapped it to a 3D landscape? Would it look anything like that pattern over there? Probably not, because it's a little bit too sharp for that, but I don't know. I'm just sort of spitballing ideas here, because that could be kind of a neat idea, just to generate a landscape based on music, or a sound effect, or what have you, and then populate it with things that are based on, like, the peaks and valleys of a certain element of that sound. I think there's, you know, a lot of ways you could take that kind of an idea. And looking down, I don't even know what these are, just crazy random pastel-y looking colors all stuck together with a little bit of a neon thing going. And now, okay, we've got some grass too, but if we jump, it actually, the draw distance is so short that the grass actually vanishes. Got another little forest over here. I wonder if the scaling on the player size is actually right. Like, I wonder if maybe we're designed to be much, much, much smaller for this experience, and that's why the landscape is, well, it's very large, but we can traverse it very quickly. Or maybe it was started out that we were supposed to be super tiny, and then the developer realized, well, this is like kind of frustrating because it's taking a million years to get around. And then maybe scaled up everything and hasn't, maybe they haven't adjusted all the attributes of the individual areas yet. So this is a compelling thing that we've got going on here. What is this? There's a big old gray orb hanging over this area in space, and it seems to have changed the sky to be darker. And as we approach this tree, sort of a melancholy piano style thing going on over here. And then there's little animated doodles appearing all over this tree. I like it. What is this reminding me of? Vivian Clark, I think, is probably what this is reminding me of. Where you're associating with drawings or little doodles, and they're taking you into new worlds. This is really cool, actually, looking. I don't know what's going on here, but it seems like all the doodles are stacking up, like in a reverse Tetris style. Like everything's sticking to the ceiling, and then they're all bouncing off of each other. I'm going to touch this in just a second, but I want to just look around first and make sure I've seen everything I want to see before I go ahead. So on this side, they all seem to be falling down. Although I think we're seeing more, maybe more things? Hard to say. And all throughout this whole shape is the same texture being repeated over and over again, which is leading to sort of like that effect when you go into like Sears or something. There's a million TVs everywhere and everything's replicating out of the corner of your eye. If that makes any sense. It's a bit of an obtuse one, I agree, but is there anything else we're seeing in this big ol' area? I mean, I noticed that fragmented thing off in the distance, right? I think that's, sort of reminds me of a piano, actually, but maybe that's just because I was listening to one a second ago. And there seems to be a droning effect happening around here. Is this different? Oh, no, this is the television static, isn't it? Yeah, I think so. Alright, so we've seen the television, we've seen the piano, we've seen the tree at the top. I'm just calling it that. It's not actually that at all. But did I make it over here? I did make it over to this because it's the triangle sound, or the triangle sound, because I want to put the emphasis in weird places on words sometimes. And what about behind the whole mess? Is there anything going on over here? I feel like I've gone out of bounds in some area that, well, I mean, this is definitely the intent of the game, but we were traversing an area that's never been meant to be seen, and I've always wondered about if you, like, could imbue one of those areas with mystical properties, and maybe it would become a game all in and of itself to explore. And, you know, that's what I really like about these kind of glitch jam crazy games that just don't really care about gameplay conventions. They just do what they're gonna do. You never know what kind of crazy experiences you're gonna have. So we've touched the tree. Oh, goodness. And now, we get Rainbow Cone. The best cone of all time. A second ago, it was rounded at the top. Does it change between being rounded and pointy? It does. The further to the left I go... Oh, no, it's not actually going... It's not actually changing. It's that I'm getting closer and further away. That's the fog taking over. And on the ground, we have giant doodles again. I wonder if these are the same doodles from the tree. I think they might be, but it's hard to say. And there isn't much going on in this world, unfortunately. It is a little bit bleak and a little bit desolate. And also a little bit creepy, but in a good way. Oh, we've got a building over here. And I'm going to investigate the rainbow cone in just a second. I want to make sure that I've gotten my money's worth out of whatever this is going to be. Oh, we've got more jelly bean fields. Oh, I like a good jelly bean field. Look at that. They're all swaying in their own patterns. I wish there were more of those kind of effects, actually. Oh, geez. I think I went and touched the building, which may or may not be a good idea. Where are we now? Oh, I thought we were back in the original... Wait, we are? It's like all moved a little bit, hasn't it? I don't know what's going on here. Oh, look at these scribbles. Okay, it's the same effects again, but there's like a dog drawing in front of them. Huh. And it just seems to be a cube, so maybe we've got this thing going on all the way around. Now, if I touch this, does that bring me back? It does bring me back to Drawing World. So let's go into this rainbow cone now and just see if there's anything neat going on in here. And then I think we will have come full circle. Oh, geez, there's an astronaut and a dog. And I actually played a game about a psychedelic man walking around through space with a dog. I don't think this developer had anything to do with it, but I also might just be mistaken on that, and if I am, my apologies. But for some reason, that just occurred to me that it seems like a similar thing. And also, this astronaut reminds me of another game that I played on the series recently that was not that great. But that has nothing to do with this either. Just random references popping into my head. Okay, so the jelly bean worms seem to have moved into this cone, and things are getting wild and wacky in here. Can I touch the dog? Can you teleport me somewhere else? No, it doesn't seem that way. What if I jump into the astronaut? Can I do that? It's very hard to stop moving. This game, by the way, has like the highest mouse sensitivity of any game I've ever played, I think. So just be aware coming into this, you're going to be seeing a lot of things you don't necessarily mean to see when you just barely move your mouse at all. That is a cool effect, and I actually quite like the music that's playing in the background as well. Maybe I'll just be quiet for a second so you can hear what's actually going on. The rotating effect actually seemed like it was correlating very accurately to the spinning that was happening with the jelly beans. I think our astronaut might have lit on fire now. I think that's bad, right? I don't think astronauts want to be on fire. What is going on with the smoke? Is that just an effect that I wasn't able to see because I was standing too far away before? Very well could be. So I don't know what to really make of Garmoniums other than I just want to see more of it and experience, like, hours worth of this kind of freeform craziness. It's just exactly the type of thing that I'm into. And I think the jelly bean cone is following me now. It's outside of the rainbow. Oh, okay, I was between the rainbow and the inner sanctum. So that's probably why that was happening. Yeah, look at it go. That effect seems to be directly correlated to the positioning of the player, not to the actual location of that structure. So that's probably what was going on there. Pretty cool effect, though. Oh, that makes me very dizzy. Sorry about that. So yeah, anyway, I think that'll be about all I really have to say on Garmoniums. 2 thumbs up. Probably not for everybody, obviously, but for me and for my channel, this is the type of thing that I love. So I'm going to be looking out for any more developments when it comes to this game. And I will definitely keep you posted if there is a new build or anything that has significant new stuff worth exploring. I'll be happy to go back and return us to this surreal landscape and see what all of that might be about. So if you'd like to go experience this one yourself, there will be a link for you to do that right in the description. You can go click it through. It's I think it's a pretty big file, this one. I think it was like 250 megs or something. And coming off of Game Jolt, that actually might take a few minutes since sometimes their servers get a little bit loaded. Well, maybe it's just me, but I've had bad experiences with like 250 meg files taking 20, 40 minutes, something like... Oh, I found a new thing. There's just a random toothbrush sitting here. How did I not notice this before? And we're filled with... I think this might be the landscape. Oh, is that the Linux penguin? Riding a tractor, it looks like. And a paintbrush. I like it. I don't know what it is, but I like it. And that is what this game is all about. Oh, there's a pot? Some kind of kettle or something over there? Can I touch this toothbrush? Please take me to a New World toothbrush. I don't think it's gonna, though. Anyway, as I was saying, links in the description. Go check it out. New videos on indie impressions every single day. If you enjoyed this one, consider leaving a like on it. That way you continue to show support for this series. I know you're still watching, still interested, and I will continue to bring you more episodes every single day. So I look forward to having you back again tomorrow, as we will delve into another crazy indie game, hopefully half as cool as this one was. So, thank you everybody for watching. I will talk to you all tomorrow.